In alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. We're continuing with the hadiths from Sahih Muslim, Kitab el Salat, the book of prayer. And for the past week, we've been studying the particulars of the past few days. We've been studying the particulars about the Friday prayer. We've been discussing the Friday prayer, whether or not it's an obligation, and we now understand that attending the Juma prayer or the Friday prayer is an obligation upon all men who are not traveling and who are able to attend. If there's a hardship or a sickness that prevents a man from attending, then he doesn't have to. Also, if a man is traveling on a journey or whatnot, he doesn't have to make it a habit of trying to find a mosque or any of that. It's not an obligation upon him then. Okay, and so now, and we also understand the purpose of the Friday prayer. It's for the Imam to, give us the advice that we need in order to get through our everyday lives. Also to remind us of Allah and our purpose here in this world and what's in store for us in the future and etc. And so now today what I want to do is go into some particulars that relate to the Friday prayer. Okay? And let me put the first of all, again, the purpose of us gathering together on Fridays is to be reminded as to what our purpose in life is. And we are supposed to put aside our work and our play just for that hour or so to remember Allah. We have the hadith whereas once the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was delivering a sermon on Friday. He was standing up and a caravan had arrived from Syria with a lot of goods on it. The people ran to the caravan wanting to be the first to get there to get whatever good deals they had. And in fact, they only 12 people remained, including Abu Bakr and Umar with the Prophet. The other people ran to the caravan, leaving the Prophet standing there. So that's when Allah sent down the verse of the Quran where Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, when they see merchandise or fun, they run away and leave you standing. So again, we're not supposed to put business and all of that before Allah. This is the one day out of the week that we gather together to remember Allah. Our business, our work, our play, our fun can wait until afterwards. And that's why that verse was sent down. That's what happened. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, people must cease in doing this. And he also said people who most cease to neglect the Friday prayer, or people who don't come to the Friday prayer because they choose the life of this world over it, Allah will cause a seal to be placed over their hearts, and they will become more and more negligent towards him. So this is why Muslim men are encouraged to not miss more than 3 Juma prayers. A lot of us work, we're businessmen, we're doctors, we got jobs and stuff. Try to at least attend at 1 Juma prayer a month. When Umar was the caliph, he used to tell the men, don't go more than a month. Don't miss more than 3 Juma prayers, because you don't want Allah to put a seal over your heart and you become negligent. You'll end up not wanting to come. So you brothers, for those of you who live further away from the mosque, you can't hear the adhan being called because you don't live close to the mosque or whatever, your lifestyle, you encounter a lot of hardship due to your job and stuff. Try to at least go to one Juma prayer a month. I always tell people, I used to tell my brothers, don't miss more than 1 Juma a month. My mother, when my brothers were kids in school, my mother would release them from school once a month to go to Juma when they became puberty. When they were in high school and junior high, they were puberty. She would release them from school to attend at least one Juma prayer a month to keep their hearts filled with remembrance of Allah. Okay? Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam encouraged the imam, whoever is giving the khutbah, to make it passionate. You know, nobody likes a boring speaker. It is very hard to sit still and sit quietly listening to a person talk. So this is why the Prophet told us, whoever is leading the prayer, the sermon, should raise his voice, show passion. And this is one of the things that I've been critiqued about. A woman can show passion too. There was no speaker more passionate than Aisha. No speaker more passionate than Fatima. The Prophet's daughter Fatima, they say she could speak so passionately she could make you cry. Aisha was so passionate she could lead an army in battle. Okay, women can be passionate too. We just can't beautify our voices. Beautify our voices by making them soft and sexy and Marilyn Monroe-ish. My voice is nothing. It is very passionate, but it is nowhere near sexy. I can be sexy, but I would never do it on this internet. I make my voice strong like it is. I make my voice harsh like it is, and passionate to get your attention, to hold your heart. But I am not making my voice beautiful and sexy where you're coming here to listen to me because you're in love with me. You're coming here because you want to learn the deen. And that's probably why not that many men are in here, because they don't want to hear a woman's voice like mine. They want to hear those other women on Facebook who got the video camera going too with all their makeup on and their sexy voices. They busy listening to those sisters. They don't want to hear me, because I'm going to remind them of the hellfire. I'm going to put that fear of Allah in their heart, and my voice is nowhere sexy. But for you brothers, if you are the imam and you are giving the khutbah or any khutbah, you want to make it short, but you want to make it sweet. You want to show passion in your lecturing. You want to be able to stimulate the people's emotions and feelings. And you can also gesture. Use your hands. This is a beautiful picture I have of Imam Hassan, who was one of the lecturers of our website. And this is why I love to hear him speak. His voice is very passionate. His English, his diction is clear, and he uses gestures. You know, he'll use his hands to gesture. And this is how I imagine the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam giving a khutbah, similar to how Imam Hassan does. Okay? He doesn't make his sermon too long. He doesn't make his sermon too short. He's passionate. He uses gestures. He holds your attention. And let's look at these hadiths. One of the companions says, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam delivered his sermon, his eyes became red and his voice would rise, and his anger would increase, so that he was a person giving a warning. When he was warning us about something, he would make his voice rise, his anger increase. And when he was reminding us of something good, he'd soften it. This is passion, guys. This is passion. And this is how our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam lectured. Okay? And also the Prophet would recite Quran. And you can recite any Quranic verses you want to. For example, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to say the best of the speech is embodied in the book of Allah. And I am giving you the best guidance. He would also sometimes say, I am more dear to a Muslim even than himself. Okay, and also the Prophet used gestures. He would join his forefinger and his middle finger and gesture. So again, there is nothing wrong with the speaker or the lecturer doing that during his sermon. Okay? And also, again, he would recite Quran. One of the companions says that the Prophet used to always recite the Surah of Qaf. He would recite that every Friday whenever he delivered his sermon. In fact, one of the companions said that this is how he learned that surah. Okay, from hearing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam recite it every Friday. So the Imam can recite the Quran, but also and give the meaning of the verses, and also use passion. Be passionate. You want to hold the listener's attention. You want to make the sermon, make the khutbah appealing to the listener. You don't want to bore them. And this next thing, a hadith, brings us to a question that many Muslims ask. Although we are not allowed to speak during the khutbah, remember, speaking during the khutbah, will destroy all your blessings. Although we are not allowed to speak during the khutbah, what if I come and the imam is lecturing? Can I make the 2 rak'ahs for the mosque? The answer is yes. I repeat, the answer is yes. We have a hadith that once the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was delivering the Friday prayer, he was standing up giving the khutbah, the sermon, and a man entered and sat down. The Prophet asked him, "Wait a minute, did you pray?" The man shook his head. No. The Prophet said, "Get up and go make the 2 rak'ahs." Okay? So even though the imam is giving the lecture, if you arrive while he's lecturing, you should still go ahead and make the 2 rak'ahs for the mosque. Does everybody understand? Okay. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when any of you comes to the Friday prayer while the imam is delivering the sermon, you should observe the 2 rak'ahs and make them short. So just make the 2 short rak'ahs for the mosque. Okay, we can't talk during the khutbah, but we can do that. And that's something that a lot of people send me emails asking me about all the time. And again, the imam can recite any Quranic verses he wants to, okay, during the khutbah and even during the prayer when he's leading the people in prayer. Remember, we talked about how the only Quran that must be recited in order for your prayers to be accepted is Al-Fatiha. If the imam wants to recite more after that, he can and he should. And our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to recite the Juma prayer, the Juma chapter and others. For example, one of the companions said the Prophet used to recite during the morning prayer, and on Fridays he would recite Alif Lam Mim. He would recite the Tanzil Sajda and all of that. So the imam can recite whatever verses of the Quran or that he wants to during the Juma prayer. Okay, Fatiha is a must. Any of the other of the Quran can be recited or included. Okay, and now that brings us to the final big question, big debate that many Muslims have, believe it or not. Are there Sunnah prayers that are prayed after the Juma prayer? And if there are we obligated? First of all, the fact that they're Sunnah should tell you they are not obligations. The only obligatory prayers that we have to make are Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. And as you guys learned yesterday, the Friday prayer is Dhuhr. That's Dhuhr. When you go to the mosque to do the Juma prayer behind the imam, you are praying Dhuhr. That is an obligation. But the Sunnah rak'ahs are not obligations. The fact that it's Sunnah means it's voluntary. I don't have to do it, but I do it for the reward that it brings. After praying the Juma prayer, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that you should offer 4 rak'ahs afterwards. Again, you don't have to. But again, those 4 rak'ahs are the sunnahs of the Dhuhr prayer. Okay? And if you are in a hurry, say for example, you have to get to work, or you have to get home to your family, then you don't have to do the 4 rakats in the mosque. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you are in a hurry and have to get back to your job or something, then pray 2 voluntary rakats in the mosque, and then when you get home, pray the other 2. The Prophet Muhammad used to go home after the Jummah prayer and pray 2 in his house. He would pray 2 rakats at the mosque, and then he would pray the other 2 rakats in his home. Everybody understand that? We have the hadith whereas Ibn Umar observed the Friday prayer and came back and observed 2 rakats in his house. And he said this is what the Prophet used to do. So, those Sunnah rakats are really the Sunnahs of the Dhuhr prayer. Okay? The Prophet would pray 2 of them at home and 2 of them at the mosque. But again, do we have to pray them? No, they're voluntary. They are voluntary. They are voluntary. Okay? So what have we learned today? Well, first of all, we learned that as a Muslim man, you should not miss more than 3 Friday prayers in a row. Because to miss more than 3, Allah will put a seal over your heart. So you should at least try to get to the mosque and participate in the Jummah prayer at least once a month if you are a man. Also, we learned that all business and sport should be set aside during the time of the Friday prayer. Your work and all that should be set aside. Get back to it after the prayer is over. And this is why the imam should make the prayer and the sermon short. Make it short but sweet so the people can get back to their school, so they can get back to their businesses. And also we learned that when delivering the sermon, the imam can recite any Quranic verses he wants to, but he should also explain the verses and how they impact the Muslim in his or her daily life. And also, when delivering the khutbah or the sermon, the imam should raise his voice and make his speech passionate to hold the attention of the listeners, to hold the attention of the people. And he should speak about things that are of interest to them. He can also use hand gestures when speaking. And also we learned today that even though we are forbidden to speak during the khutbah, if you should enter into the mosque while the khutbah is being delivered, you can still perform your 2 rakats for the mosque before sitting. And finally, we learned today that it is sunnah, I repeat, sunnah, to perform 4 rakats after the Friday prayer. If you're in a hurry to get back to your job or whatever, then just make 2 of them in the mosque and do the other 2 when you get home. So these are the particulars of the Friday prayer that we've learned today from Sahih Muslim. We're going to stop right here. I hope these hadiths make sense to everyone. Please, again, we spent a lot of time on the quiz today, but it was very important and you guys did very well. For those of you who are listening, please try to join us every day at 6 o'clock. Be here for the quiz. We're now broadcasting live on Facebook too. I'm broadcasting from my website to Facebook in hopes of trying to get more Muslims to participate. And finally, before we stop, let me remind everybody that our webinar, it costs $285 a month to run our webinar that I use to teach on with the PowerPoint and everything. It's due on the 1st of every month. That means it's due in Friday. We have less than $100 in our account. Please, guys, those of you who can afford to donate, please make a donation today so that it'll be in there before the 1st, so we don't have to worry about logging on Friday and there's no website because the webinar wasn't paid. Okay? To make a donation, go to www.sunnahfollowers.net/donate.php. And please join our Facebook group, the Sunnah Followers Facebook group. And that way you can also participate in these live classes. Okay, so we'll stop right here. If you guys have any questions or comments, if there's more clarification needed for a hadith, you can go ahead and type them on the screen. That includes you people on Facebook too. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.